And then when I twitched it, he smashed it. And now he's famous. He's on YouTube. Grand Rapids trip day 2. Last night was just beautiful, but the fishing really didn't cooperate. I tried a lake I had been on one time before here in Grand Rapids and only managed one frog bass, believe it or not. After talking with somebody at the landing, what I should have done was brought my panfish stuff because there's some big bluegills in there. But you know what? Maybe we'll get some of those next time, or maybe even later in the trip I'll go back and try for some. Today is gonna be a little bit of a watch. Got some rain coming in, but there's a lake north of Grand Rapids that I want to check out. One of those things, I heard about it from someone, and I just want to see if I need to have this lake on the list. Reported that there's some big bass in there. Another nice thing is it doesn't have a landing that can be used by regular sized boats. There's a few houses around the lake, but other than that, it's kind of a carry-in access. So I'm gonna go check it out. We've got a little journey ahead of us. Let's go fishing. We have made it to our new lake. Kind of a cool drive coming up here. That's why I thought I'd put it on time warp and kind of show you what it looked like. Let's get down to the lake and see what it looks like. This was the lake recommended to me by someone, and check it out. It's just wide enough to get a kayak through here. So, getting down to the lake, I'm liking what I see. If you've seen some of my videos, I go to Jurassic Lake, which is also an up north lake. It has these small kind of lily pads, and that's what I'm seeing. All the way around the lake. So it looks like we got a clear kind of rocky lake, but it drops off, I'm guessing, pretty quick. Who knows what kind of monsters are out here. Let's get the kayak ready, let's get in, and let's go fishing. All right, we are on the water. Nobody else out here. I see a couple of properties. Might be another one on this shore. But for the most part, we have the lake to ourselves. Got some lily pads all the way around. Let's see if we can get some bass to bite. Looks like we got kind of a defined weed edge. Nothing that the chatterbait frog and jig can't handle. Choked out here. So we'll definitely be able to find a weed edge. But it's still early enough. I think I'm gonna go in where the lily pads were. It wasn't as choked out. So maybe a bass highway. First cast on new lake. It's one of those things I want to go out and fish a weed line, but I also want to make sure that the frog bite's not on, because this would be a lot of fun if the frog bite was on. I feel like I'm fishing areas that if I wouldn't have pushed snooze might have been good this morning. I was tired. A couple of days of getting up at 4:30 and fishing most of the day. We'll keep trying though, because like I always say, if we do get some hits shallow, those are fish are feeding. You know, if there's fish there, they're gonna hit. There we go. We got our first bass on New Lake. Wonderful. And liking the size. That's a good fish. He's probably 16, 17 incher. In close where we like to get him. Kind of showed himself and then whammo. All right. Back it goes. All right, that was fun. Nice chunky bass. That one kind of showed itself and I just let it sit in one spot for just a little bit. And then when I twitched it, he smashed it. And now he's famous, he's on YouTube. All right. Had the landing all the way around about a quarter of the lake. What did we get? About 4 hits on a frog. One was the same one twice. So about 3 separate bass encounters, I guess you could say. Got one in the boat. Decent size. Very hopeful. As I look around, we got plenty more lily pads to throw to. I see a reed island out there. And I'm hoping it's surrounded by deep water. That's usually a good setup. Right now, I'm trying to find the edge of the weeds. And I'm going to throw a Evo bladed jig with our favorite electric shed power stinger off the back. Sitting at about 8 feet right now. Got a few weeds here and there, just off the thicker weed line. Not sure what that is, but that's a decent sized fish that's chasing it. If it was a bass, it was a smaller one, but if it's a sunfish, woo! In fact, we got our panfish gear. I might have to just drop it down there just to see. Definitely wasn't a northern. Yeah, let's do that. If that's a sunfish, I want to catch that sunfish. There we go. All right. We are a multi-species angler on New Lake. Beautiful, clean looking sunfish. Always like that. See if we got any big guys down there. Ooh. It's always interesting, the color variations. That one's a little more blue. There we go. It's got some pull to it. That guy swallowed it. Oh, we got it. Oh. That was a nice size one. Let's see if we can get a gigantic one. And if we do, we're gonna net it because I had a huge crappie on that favorite lake yesterday and I tried to sling it in. Oh my goodness. It was sad to see that fall off the hook. There we go. It is amazing the difference that gulp makes. You know, I had some power bait on there, and I had some power bait on there, and they were just kind of nipping at it. But with gulp, they usually swallow it. All right, that might be the biggest one of the day. Real nice. The reason I stopped on this spot was because something followed my bladed jig in, and it looked like kind of a medium small bass or a big bluegill. And I think now that I've seen the fish around here, it probably was a big bluegill that followed it in. Seems like they're kind of in packs. I moved up from where I caught those last couple small ones. The bigger ones seem to be grouped together. There we go. Some nice fish. Oh, that's a big guy. Look at that scarred. Oh my goodness. Something grabbed this one. Wow. Look at that fish. Looked like a big old northern or something grabbed it. All right, another nice one. So here's the deal. Once you find them with gulp, if they're aggressive like we found them to be, then you can use something like a power bait, and the tail's actually got on that one. And you can still catch them. And I'll just tell you, power bait's a lot more inexpensive than gulp. All right, there's your sunfish lesson for today. Awesome action. So glad I stopped. It's good to pay attention to what's happening around your lure. If I wouldn't have seen that fish flash and thought it was a bluegill, I might not have even stopped. Okay, back to the main attraction though. I'm gonna put a gulp on just to be ready for later. Now another thing you have to be careful about with gulp is don't let them sit on your hook too long. They dry, and they dry as hard as a rock. So you don't want to be spending half your time trying to get the gulp off the hook. All right, back to the bass. Now I don't know if you're a bass fisherman, if you've noticed, if you like panfish also, that a lot of the best bass lakes are also good panfish lakes. Well, you should have seen it. The lily pads exploded, and I got this big guy to the boat. Darn it, the camera wasn't on. I'll catch the next one. Hopefully we'll get another big one like this. Got a 3-pounder. Nice chunky fish. So 2 bass so far on this lake, and 2 nice ones. That's so fun. That is so much fun. Sling them in. Oh my goodness, that's not a slinger in there, but we did. All right. Another chunker, probably 3-pounder. Just throw it in there. Right to that little spot. He missed it, and get it back on that spot and just wait for him to roll over it. That is so much fun. Darn it. That's exactly where he was supposed to be. I think he felt it. Oh, darn it. All right. That is cool. This one gave us another chance. Right in front of me. All right, that's what was bothering our bait on the corner there. Another chunker. Something to be said for a lake that's not very pressured, and a kayak, and the fish will eat it right in front of you. Find something around this reed lily pad island. I noticed it from about halfway down the shore. We've been fishing our way up to it. Be a good place for a bass to sit and let things get washed across there. Oh my goodness. I got myself in the worst hook set position. So now we'll try the chatterbait just off the point here. Slobber knocker, black and bruised. There was a hit, but it didn't stick. Could it be another pod of big sunfish? Or is that actually a bass? There's a fish. All right. What do we got? We got another species? We do. We'll count it. Touch the leader. Small northern. Surprised we hadn't picked one of those up earlier, but we hadn't thrown the bladed jig very much. So my first stop on my trip, I'm using my Daiwa reel and got stuck on a reed, and I pulled on the line and the line actually snapped. And so I did get the lure back and everything and thought, oh, it's just a freak. And then I did it again. So I went over to Thousand Lake Sporting Goods in Grand Rapids, and they spooled it up with some Suffix 832. I usually use Power Pro Super Slick version 2, but this was a good choice. It's working great, casts great. Try to stay right on the edge of the weeds here. Fish on. The northern missed it, hit it, let go, came back and hit it again. All right, there's something that attacked this thing. I gotta see if it was sunfish. It was big ones. If it's a northern, I'll lose my jig instantly. There's one. Man. All right. Look at that guy. That is a picture fish for sure. All right. Tip of the day. New search bait. Put on a bladed jig, and when you feel it getting hammered on the way in, stop and fish panfish. Oh yeah. So that's what the graph looks like. Just kind of throwing it right next to some of those taller weeds. This gulp is just getting demolished. Wow, that's a big one. Catch a couple bass, stop and panfish. Catch a couple of bass, stop and panfish. Nice. We have definitely settled on a pod of some pretty big ones. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. Wow. Beautiful. Nice fish. Not keeping today, but if I were, I'd have some nice ones. We have almost completed our lap around this new lake, talking to some nice people that live on this lake, talking to some nice people that have a place on this lake. Nice enough to share what they knew about the fishing and stuff, so that's pretty cool. On this channel, if I'm ever back to this lake, it'll be forever known as Bella's Lake. They had a dog. I said, "What's your dog's name?" They said Bella. So here we go. We're at Bella's Lake. Let's see if we can find one more big sunfish to end the video on. Or you know what, it's raining. Maybe a medium-sized one. Oh, there we go. That one feels better. Might just be how it's hooked. There we go. All right. Well, this has been fun exploring a brand new lake. As you can see, it's raining. Finding some nice big bluegills. Found some frog bass. Northern's a little small on this lake. But you know what? Great to be out. Great exploring a new lake around Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Up north, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna drag this boat back up the hill we came down. And you know what? We'll be out fishing again tomorrow in Grand Rapids. Looks like tonight's gonna be a little bit of a washout. It'll give me a chance to edit some videos, relax. I appreciate you watching this video. I'll see you on the next one. Bonus fishing. All right, we're gonna try to use this gulp up because I'm gonna have to take it off the hook anyhow. There's a bonus fish. Whew. Another nice one. Good fish. Right now I'm just dropping it down. Kind of gotten out into some deeper water. Let's see if there's anything on the bottom here in the deep. Wow. Nothing on the graph, but something grabbed it right away. Well, let's just swallow it there, big guy. Oh no. Guess you don't need to see him on the graph. There we go. Bonus sunfish all over the place. There we go until the gulp is gone. 14 feet of water, jigging up some sunfish in the rain. Summer 2025. Wow, these guys are just inhaling it over here. Thump. Oh, nice. There's a great thump. Never have we had so many bonus fish. Aren't you glad you kept watching? You get to see a bunch of sunfish being caught. Fast and furious. Never know when you're going to get that 12-incher. Woo, got a fighter. Ooh, yeah. Good fish. Great sunfish. Uh-oh, our gulp's falling apart. Is the party almost over? Bonus fish. There's another one. Get it back down there, see what we can get. Landing is approaching. Can't even get it down there. Well, look at this guy. Pretty cool coloring on that guy. One after another. Here we go. Coming up and the busiest bonus fish section ever on FisherMN. Because there's another one. Just trying to get rid of this gulp. The fish are saying, nope, we don't want you to go. Ooh, our gulp is on its last legs. So here's what I do when it's starting to fall off the hook. I just snip a little bit of the head off because the head's getting all kind of cracked and stuff. And then try to find a new area to thread the hook on. I actually have the twister tail backwards, so I don't think it's going to matter. Back in the strike zone. There it is. This guy's pulling. Oh yeah, nice chunky guy. Hooked him like a pro right in the forehead. Man, sorry fish. There we go. Chunkaroni. Alright, if you have been watching this bonus fishing, I'm not going to count the fish. Somebody count and tell me how many bonus fish I got. Because guess what? Our gulp is gone. Thanks for staying till the end of the bonus fishing. I'll see you in the next video.